Hey everyone, welcome back, and this is my review of The Legend of Korra, Book 4, Balance, Episode 10. Okay, before I get into this, I just want to say although this episode wasn't bad, by any means, there are ways that it could have been so much better than it was. It was still a great episode, don't get me wrong, right? But there's ways that it could have been so fuck. Sorry about that. Anyways, there's ways it could have been so much better than it actually was, okay? Really just flat out. And there's a couple issues I did have with it. Like, one's kind of a bit more minor one, but it is kind of confusing. And the second one's a pretty major one. I personally think. Okay. So, the episode in general was pretty simple, you know. Kavira tried to go through with her plans. Okay. Actually, 3 issues I had with it, right? Kavira tried to go through with her plans to blow up the city, or the village, town, whatever, and she failed. And alright, one issue I had with it, though, it's like, apparently she's going to attack Republic City in 2 weeks. Why? I mean, I understand she still wants to go through with her plans, but you'd think she'd leave a lot more preparation and planning into it before she tried to attack Republic. Well, first off, what's the point of attacking Republic City in general? I mean, that's not the centerpiece of what she wants to do, so just why? It just seems like they're trying to turn her into the most generic villain ever. It's like, I'm Kavira, I am generic villain number 10,000,002, and so I need to do something evil because I'm evil. Like, that really is what it seems like at this point, because I can't see any logical reason why she would want to attack Republic City. Okay? I'm just saying, I really don't see any. In addition to that, like I said before, you'd also think she'd want to put a lot more planning into it beforehand, alright? Another thing I didn't like is, well, at first I really liked it. I liked how these little spats between Toph and Lin, because Lin actually brought up some legitimately good points, alright? First off, we learn about this, like, random-ass fucking father of Lin named Kanto. You know, like the Kanto region in fucking Pokemon. Okay. Who apparently, you know, him and Toph fell in love, but it didn't work out. And Lin actually brought some legitimately good arguments. Okay, she really did. Like, she grew up without a father, and Toph never talked about him, apparently. Okay, so, personally, I think she has a right to be pissed, okay? But at the end of the episode, it seems like she just shrugged it off like nothing. Like, hey, I forgive you now. Even though this has been a grudge I've held for 20 fucking years. I forgive you now. What? Like, especially since, now, don't get me wrong, I've always loved Toph's sarcastic, smartass, like, attitude and whatnot, and I still do. But Toph really didn't seem like she cared, okay? And, I mean, even Toph admits that she's never been the greatest mother, which, judging by the flashbacks and judging by this episode and what we learned about her now, we can kind of believe her. At least she's willing to admit it. But still, it's like, what the fuck? You'd think there'd be somebody, like, the pacing in that resolution sucked ass because it came out of fucking nowhere. Okay, I think that's really what I'm trying to say here. Alright? And then the other issue that I had with this episode. Toph did not fight Kavira. Now, don't get me wrong, I wasn't expecting Toph to finish off Kavira, okay? and like use her earthbending to open up a giant fucking canyon and send her into the pits of hell. You know, I wasn't expecting that at all. But I at least wanted her to show down with Kuvira a little bit. You know what I mean? He's like the best character, at least to me, in the Avatar mythos against the, well, basically, as far as we know, the final villain of Avatar, period. I would have thought that would be really cool. And personally, I think that Toph's reasons for not going up against Kuvira were complete bullshit. Because we know she, despite her age, we know she's fucking strong. Okay? Like, we do. Like, she was able to beat the fucking Avatar. And granted, Korra kind of had a limp at the time, but she still wasn't weak. Okay? She really wasn't. Like, Toph is not fucking weak. She's really fucking strong. And personally, I think the reason that she didn't go up against Kuvira was complete bullshit. She basically said, it's best to leave it to the younger generation instead of the older generation getting involved. And she used an example with Katara, saying Katara didn't get involved in the Civil War. Okay. Because she wanted to leave it to the younger generation. Now, that example is fine and all. But if you remember back in the original Avatar series, a lot of the older generation got involved. I mean, Sokka's master, Katara's master, and just lots of others. Lots of the older generation got involved majorly. Okay? And I didn't expect, like, Katara. I mean, I really wish that some of the other older generation got involved too. Granted, at this point, I didn't expect Katara to come in and getting involved. First off, even though she's old just like Toph is, she does look more frail than Toph. So I don't know if she could really like jump around like Toph can. At the very least, like if she did come in, the only thing I would expect her to do is maybe like heal people. Because that's what she's best at. Granted, she heals people with her water bending, and I'm sure she can still fight with it. I think she might have fought with it in the past, but I mean, actually I'm pretty almost certain she did. But her best skill is obviously healing. Okay, so that's the only thing I would have expected her to do. But at this point, like 2 or 3 episodes left in the series, I don't even expect her to do that, quite honestly. Since she's never had a major role since season 1. And in fact, when was the last time she was even seen? It's been a while. Of Korra, that is. I didn't expect her to have a major role in this season at all. Okay, I really didn't. But still, there was no reason, I think, that for Toph to, no legitimate, I should say, reason really, I didn't think, for Toph to not have a major role, she had a major role, but for Toph to not at least fight a little bit with Kuvira, just to see who's stronger. That's what I wanted to see. I wanted to see who was stronger, Toph or Kuvira. That's the biggest reason why I was really disappointed in the fact that they didn't fight. Alright, again, I didn't expect Toph to defeat Kuvira. I knew Toph wouldn't defeat Kuvira. But I'm still kind of disappointed that they didn't fight. So that's my last complaint about the episode, alright? Other than that, it was a fantastic episode, alright? It really was. We got... what's her name? That chick that works for Varric. I forgot what her name is, but she's saved and she apparently gets to go return to her like romantic relationship with Varric, or master-slave relationship with Varric, whichever you prefer. Okay, and we got Bolin and Opal back together again. Opal's forgiven Bolin, which I'm probably one of the few people who actually cares about that relationship, by the way. I'm probably the only person who actually cares about that relationship, so there you go. We got Toph to say her final, I don't know about her final goodbyes, but her goodbyes, at least for the time being, to her 2 daughters. And there's also a really funny scene in this episode where like, Toph's son says, what's been going on, mother, or something along those lines. And she tells him not to call him that, or not to call her that, which tells us that there must be some bad blood with the son, which I don't know if that's been explained before or not. I honestly don't remember, but it's kind of weird. But it was kind of funny at the same time. Alright, and overall the ending was definitely set up for the last like 2 or 3 episodes of the series. So overall, I really enjoyed this week's episode of Korra. Okay, it was a really good episode. Despite my complaints, which obviously, as you've heard, I did have some complaints in this episode. In this episode, it was still really good. Not the best episode in the series so far. Trust me. Despite the fact that I had 3 major complaints in this episode, if Toph fought Kavira, that would have been, and they did it right. Where obviously Toph still didn't win, but it was still an amazing fight, and it showed us who was stronger. That alone, even though there's 2 complaints would have still been there, I would still mention them obviously. That alone would have made this the best episode in Korra, period, as of now. Oh, I don't know about that, but at least in this season, and definitely if you put the last 2 seasons in there as well. I don't know about the first season, because the first season early on had some amazing fucking episodes, but that's another story entirely. So anyways, overall, if you tell me your thoughts about this episode in the comment section below. If you've yet to see this week's episode of Korra, then I definitely recommend that you do. I cannot wait until next week's episode. Superb, for the most part. It really was. So anyways, overall, hope you enjoyed this review, guys. He's at you guys. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.